Bobby
Can we take a second and get a good morning, party people?
That wasn't the worst one you've ever done. It's a great intro to the chat. Wow. I'm not lying, am I? Dude, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and hang out with us.
Love it. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be trying to look at the camera and not the actual monitor, which is...
I mean, for the people that are listening on audio, it doesn't really matter. So
they'll be able
solid
to.
Point.
He sounds like he's looking at the question here.
Bobby,
this guy doesn't know anything that he's talking about.
Yeah, for those people that
So where am I right now?
Yeah.
Currently I am actually in a small town about an hour and a half north of New York City called Beacon. Finally getting my first actual retreat from this whole COVID mess. But normally I am based out of Brooklyn, New York.
But whereabouts exactly in Beacon are you right now is what we're asking.
Well, that's a special one. I am actually inside of a sauna right now. I'm preheating the sauna, and I'm really hoping that it actually kicks in, so like we can have
I want to see
some
you get
really
sweatier and sweatier throughout this.
Yeah, I want to have like some gritty, serious conversation where I'm just panting, and then I just have to collapse into a pool, and then we'll continue the conversation there. You know.
That's fine. Cool. We just lost our light, but that's okay. You can still see us, I guess.
Just wonderfully.
Bobby, I would like you to endeavor. So anyone that follows Milestone may have already seen you when we've caught up, as we are all good friends, but I want you to tell people a bit about yourself. How would you describe yourself in under a minute? That's a challenge.
I mean, I feel like I actually, normally, yeah, if you ask me to like paraphrase something, but I feel like I've encapsulated basically who I am just by like my Instagram handle, where it's Bobby Hicks, and I tend to smile quite a bit. You know, I'm just one of those optimistic people that loves everything, which is, I kind of feel like why we all get along so well, because we are just like stoked with life. And yeah, I mean, I'm a fitness enthusiast. I practice photography and filmmaking as a freelance creative. And I don't know, man, you know, it's like 30, almost 36, and just trying to, you know, convince people that I'm still in my 20s every day.
So you don't have to worry about that one. That charming boyish face you have there.
Yeah. For those that can't see, it's very charming and boyish.
If you do say so yourself. You and I met almost, I think about 5 years ago now, in New York City.
Yeah.
Through mutual friends who you had actually just met too, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I was actually just talking about this somewhat recently, where like I met you, who is kind of funny because you were somebody that I was actually super intimidated to meet because I've been following you for so long, and I was so like I was like an absolute fanboy, and I just like somehow managed to meet Marcel, who either you've had or you will have at some point. You like we're all in this group chat, so we'll find out. But and we met up at basically a what do we call that? It was the Rat Pack shoots, you know, and like we all got like dapper and dressed up and you know, just took some cool photos, and it was kind of awesome because, you know, like when people that you look up to, like you kind of always try to keep them like at a slight distance. You're like, I don't know, like that guy might be a dick or something. And then like I was so unbelievably pleasantly surprised to find out that like not only were you one of like the bubbliest, most friendly and like outgoing people that I still know to this day, but like you and I clicked like instantly. And for the past, you know, several years, you know, like we've all been very, very good friends.
We have. I think we should just end the podcast there before the truth comes out that I'm actually
before people actually realize what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
I paid him to say this.
Yeah, exactly. They paid him to say nice things. And then a few years later, maybe 2 years later, Lane went to New York. And I believe I was out somewhere and you just met up with Bobby who you'd never met before.
You've missed the timeline. You know, I've been home for like nearly 4 years now.
I don't know what year it is.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Nobody does it this year. It's 2020 and the worst.
How have I known you then?
Longer, maybe 6, 7 years.
Okay, cool, whatever.
We met up at CrossFit South Brooklyn and had a workout.
But just like without ever having met.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, no, you picked me up from the airport. I think.
That's Bobby's move. That's his power move.
That is my move.
Guy, I'm going to pick you up from the airport in New York. I'm going to drive out of my way, get you here, give you the best welcoming experience, and make you love me. And it works every time.
Yeah, we went and had coffee at that place.
Yeah.
Walked in,
Cusp.
and high-fiving the bartender, the barista. And
Who
stuff.
he'd never met before.
He'd never met.
Yeah, and like I did the same thing with Khan. I've done the same thing with like so many different people where it's like, you're coming to town, I'll pick you up, and then we'll just hang out. And because it's like the way I try to look at it is that like, you can already tell I talk very quickly. I'm a very like energetic and busy person. And I've come to realize over the years that it's like, especially living in New York, the only time you really get a chance to actually see your friends, especially you guys who are like, you're traveling across the entire world just to kind of spend a few days or weeks or whatever in New York, like you're going to be busy. You're going to be occupied doing other stuff. So it's like, I always try to look at picking people up. This is like a free tip for you guys out there that are listening, okay? If you want to be having friends for life, you pick them up from the airport and you don't ask questions about it. You just do it because you want to see them, because you might not actually get a chance to do it later. And that's like the slickest move you've got. By the way, do you guys curse on here or not? Because I curse a lot and I don't want to like do it if it's unnecessary. All right.
I'll wave a line.
I'm gonna get my own ear.
You're talking to me. I swear like a sailor. Let's jump in. You mentioned you're a fitness enthusiast. Chat, can you just tell everyone, chat to us a little bit about your fitness journey, where you started, where you've come from, where you want to go?
Sure thing. Yeah, so I mean, I've never been a very like sport-centric person. I never really grew up watching like football or soccer, or footy as you guys call it, or any real sports. Like I played a little bit of Little League, but it's like I always wanted to kind of push myself, and weights were always something fun to play with. And it's like I used to be a bartender for a really long time, and like to be honest, like that actually kind of got out of control for me. It's like I was very, very good at drinking, and I decided to quit drinking. And it was one of those things to kind of supplement that urge to like want to go out and drink. I discovered fitness. And so it was actually for me like this amazing, pivotal, life-changing thing where, it's like I discovered things like kettlebells. That's where I discovered my friend's CrossFit gym, which I kind of did like more of an introductory course with and stuff. And I just, started playing around with the idea of like elevating your heart rate and just picking up heavy shit and just kind of working with it. And over the years, I've really kind of grown, I've had like a really solid love with Olympic lifting, and especially with kettlebells. And to kind of like come full circle to present day, I am one of the luckiest people in New York City because I have a lot of kettlebells and nobody else has any kettlebells. And, it's like I compete in, and it's like I compete in something is called Kettlebell Sport that I had never even heard of until a couple of years ago. Most people have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's like the most savage sport I've ever seen and ever tried to compete in my life, where you're basically trying to, depending on the skill that you're working on, whether it's like what we call long cycle, which is basically clean and jerks, or you're trying to just do like maybe like a jerk event or a biathlon where you're doing jerk and snatch. And the objective is you have a 10-minute clock, and you're just trying to get as many repetitions as possible with the allotted weight that you're working with, usually double bells. So in this case, like I compete in double 24-kilogram bells, and I'm doing as many clean and jerks as possible in a 10-minute period of time, and you cannot set the bells down. So that's where like I really feel like this is one of the toughest things that anybody could do, because it's not like, I mean, like you look at a lot of these dudes, it was born out of Russia. Like most of the people doing this are not massive, like they don't look like CrossFitters or anything. They don't look even like anywhere near as big as you guys do. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a sport that's built around like mental grit and just kind of like the ability to like use your legs in a really, really functional and efficient way to explosively swing, like using your hips to get the bell up into a clean position on a rack, and then to hold it there as long as you can, and then to explosively kick your heels up, basically to, like short it, I guess, and to get the weights over your head, and then just repeat that shit for 10 minutes, and it's
Sounds horrible.
so tough. It is, but it's like I do it almost every day. I love it.
What is it about that you love? Because we know that you love doing a thing that pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Is that what you love about it? Being outside of your comfort zone?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's one of those things where I like things that require finesse and skill. You know, it's like I get bored really easily. You know, it's like I need something that's going to take like months and years to like actually understand and learn and hone in like a skill.
I've just realized something. I'm so sorry. I've just realized just then, as you said that. Have you seen the movie Over the Hedge?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's an animated movie. It's about like a bunch of animals that are trying to like stockpile food for winter. But there's a squirrel that Steve Carell plays that's just like this hyper energetic, short attention span. Honestly, you kind of look like it as well as act like it. And I've just seen it just then when you were like, I get bored real easy. I was like, oh my God, that's anyway, sorry.
Is that really great, like super wide angle, like close up, like like you guys are properly on like a laptop, but I'm on like like on my phone. So anyway, this is gonna be really obnoxious for anybody listening, and it's their fault. So
yeah, get on and watch the video.
But anyway, yeah. So I just like something that's going to like force me to learn a skill. You know, it's like there's nothing wrong against just like simple hypertrophy training. I think that there's definitely a place for that, and it's definitely a lot of fun. You know, but there's something where it's like I'm not into fitness for the sake of just getting jacked fucking arms. You know, it's like I don't really need to be the guy that has like 12-pack abs. You know, I'm very content with just being very functionally strong. And that's what I kind of like about kettlebells in particular, because with Olympic lifting, it's a lot of fun and it's challenging. There's so much that goes into it, but it's like, I know so many people that also like can't properly walk, or like they can't pick up a grocery bag because they've blown out their spine by just trying to like get a little ambitious with their ego. And with kettlebells, there are plenty of ways that you can injure yourself. I see it on a regular basis of people just doing it poorly. But when you actually understand the technique with anything, but it's like the weight of it is not usually enough to actually just cripple somebody. But there's so much that goes into it to actually like truly succeed more than just kind of like complete it. You know, and I also kind of like the fact that it's so niche. I mean, like the community is so small internationally. So it's like I have an American coach. Yeah, they're mostly Russian, but there's also a ton of Canadians. You got Australians that are like crushing it down there. I'm about to do also what I think is great is that like it's one of those things where like if you have a set of kettlebells, it's like you're able to still compete. I'm getting ready to do an online virtual competition in I don't know when this is going to air, but like around like early November. And I love the fact that it's like I can be anywhere, and as long as I have like my kettlebells with me and my iPhone sitting on a tripod, it's like I can enter into this competition and train and compete with these like legends. I have a Russian kettlebell coach, I have an American kettlebell coach named Juan Peugeot in Brooklyn. I'm not gonna even bother with the Russian guy's name because it's too hard. Dmitry, but like I don't know. So but like I just like that it's something that like there's only a handful of people that I've ever met in my life that even can like hang for a minute doing it, and the objective is to do this for 10 minutes. And I'm still not even there. It's like I still have a long way to go. I've done 10-minute sets but with much lighter weight, and it's like eventually I would like to reach like a certified master of sport ranking. It's like after years and years of doing this, and there are plenty of athletes that I've seen during nationals and at Arnold's, like when I was competing there. A lot of these athletes are also like in their 50s. It's like it's age agnostic. It's gender agnostic. So like most of the female athletes are fucking warriors. Like they're the most insane athletes I've ever seen, where they just make the guys look like total bitches. And I love that.
You touched on before how you've seen injuries in it. Is that like repeat trauma style injuries, like doing the same thing on repeat for 10 minutes? If you're not switched on that whole time, that's going to definitely lead to some injuries, particularly through the wrists or the hips or the lower back. Is there anything there that you've struggled with or had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, like in general, I feel, and like I said before, like this kind of translates to anything. I mean, like there are golfers that literally are like crippled because they just hit something the wrong way. So like there's a really big risk when it comes to anything you do. And it's definitely no different for kettlebells. I mean, like there are plenty of people I know that they can like double 32 kilo bells. They're going for the jerk. And then they get so tired that they drop it on their head at the very end of their set. So it's like, there's a lot of shit that can go wrong, but in common injuries, it's more like, it's not even with like the athletes that are competing. It's more like people that, especially right now, because kettlebells are like kind of so trending and hot because you don't need a gym and you can get a workout anywhere. Like a lot of people, they'll do a clean and they just don't understand the mechanics. And so they'll clean it and then it'll smash on their forearms, as opposed to kind of like this like gentle like glide where you like insert your hand through the horn, you know, and you know, it's like most of the time when I see people doing kettlebell swings, it's like they're trying to pull the weight off the ground as opposed to kind of letting the hips actually like drive and direct everything. And so, I mean, like there's a lot of common injuries that people can kind of have, but with very, very minimal amounts of actual like training, you know, and just like mild coaching and tweaking to show like what you should be doing and which muscles you should be engaging, the risk of actually really injuring yourself almost like goes out the window. Because again, like I do most of the training in my apartment in Brooklyn with 228 kilo bells. So I'm doing clean and jerks or just jerks for like several minutes at a time. And what you're doing is you're actually taking your elbows and burying them into your iliac crest of your hips. And it's easier for some people if they have like longer elbows or like shorter torsos. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like you're actually stacking the weight in a very neutral way, which allows you to support it, breathe, collect yourself, and then again, like, you know, using your legs to explosively jerk it over your head or whatever it might be. So I mean, I don't know, it's like if you understand the right techniques to do everything, there's very little injury. Because again, it's like I said, there are dudes that are like in their 50s and 60s that are competing at nationals. There was a guy that was 80 and he was obviously the only one in his class, but like he still put up numbers that were like impressive for, I think, anybody, you know.
Are you capped on how much weight you can use? Like you said, you're using like 24s for your minute cycle. Is that what the heavyweights and lightweights all use, or does the weight of the bell change as the weight class goes up or down?
It's kind of interesting because like there's so many different federations. Firstly, like, you know, like your weight class alone is going to determine like where you kind of sit in certain things. But in general, you know, it's like you have different classes depending on the weight that you're going to work with. So for example, like I was in the 95 kilo weight class, you know, which is, you know, big lads. And then there are even like way fucking bigger guys, like the Russian dudes that are like in the 105, 110 kilo classes. And like, they're floating 32s, like as if it's just a water bottle. Right. But you know, because I'm still very much like an amateur at this, like I've only been really practicing and competing for a little under 2 years at this point. I compete comfortably in 20 kilo, which is like kind of like novice division. At the Arnold's, I competed in amateur division, which is considered 24 kilo. And then you've got kind of like sub pro, which are the 28 kilo bells. And then professional is 32 for men. You know, it's like for females, 24 kilo would be professional for females.
Do you have the goal of being professional?
Yeah, I mean, like one day, but I'm a much more realistic person and patient than I think a lot of other people. Like, and I'm also just I'm not a gifted athlete by any means. Like, I put in the work to train and to do the best with my body. But like, you know, there are some people that just have like a way higher like work threshold. You know, it's like again, a lot of these Russian dudes, they've also been doing this since they were like 10. You know, it's like a lot of people in Eastern Europe, like this is a sport that like they grow up with. It just, you know, whereas like a lot of people, I didn't know about this until I was 30, 33, 34, you know? And so it's like, there are a lot of people that sometimes kind of have an advantage of kind of like getting into it later like I did, and then they just pick it up and they're just sick at it and they just like crush it. And it's a combination of being strong and then mostly just like excellent anatomy. Because again, it's like if you can get your elbows into that iliac crest, you know, I have very long torso and proportionately average arms. But like some of the people have like longer elbows and shorter things, so their elbow can sit there and they'll be able to support as much weight as they want, and it's effortless, you know. And then they just have huge quads. Now that's the thing, I have massive thighs, so it helps me out quite a bit when it comes to the jerk portion. But yes, anyway, I would love to do 32 kilo professional course. But, you know, it's like right now I'm just trying to get through my paces. You know, it's like I want to finish like class 1, you know, in amateur with 24 kilo bells. You know, it's like when I feel confident in that, I'll switch it to 28s, you know. And then if I feel just like, fuck it, you know, like let's go full 32s. Like I can throw my weight around, I can get in there, and I know I can comfortably hold it for a few minutes. But you know, it's like at the end of the day, it's more about ego for if you can't hold it, if you can't keep up. Because you know, it's like if you get through 5 repetitions with 32 kilos and then you drop it, and even if it was like 4 minutes in and you drop it after like only a few repetitions, like that defeats the whole point, you know. And I think that's a very American thing that I've seen a lot of, where it's just like you want to be the strongest, you know, like the gnarliest fucking dude in the boat. And you got to remember that it's like it's not about that at all. You got to be able to actually, is it making fun of my metaphors? Yeah, but, oh yeah, no, you don't want to do that. PSA, don't bring kettlebells in a boat, kids. Yeah.
I want to swing away from, unless you had more kettlebell question then, I want to swing away from that there, because obviously we touched on how we met, which was in a suit. I want to talk about your journey as a professional, as a human, as a career person, because I think you've got professional human. I think you've got a very interesting career path that a lot of people could take stuff from, in that you have truly adapted and rolled with the punches in there. You said you were working in a bar. You were then kind of like, I guess, under the influencer category, but you didn't really fit into that, as you would say. I want you to talk through that and your journey there from, I guess, from where we met to where you're at now, and where your career has taken you and how you've adapted.
Yeah. So, no, it's fine. So like, I mean, in general, like I feel like you compared me earlier to like a squirrel in some like animated film, you know, where it's just kind of like all over the place. Like that's actually very accurate to who I am in real life, where it's like I'm a person that is constantly distracted by like the next new shiny thing, and I always want to try it or be better at that than somebody else, or like just give it a shot. So I'm like a jack of trades, and I love doing a lot of different things. So it's like I never expected to walk into, I guess, like this influencer sphere of any means. You know, it's like I started working in a hotel when I moved to New York City with like 0 job experience whatsoever, you know. And then I just got very fortunate because I do have a very hard work ethic. You know, it's like I always try to give 110%, whether it's to like a friendship or a relationship or a coworker or an employee, you know, or employer even. You know, it's like whatever it is, I want to be the best at that. And so because of that, I've been offered a lot of advantages, simply just because, again, going back to ego, like I don't have, I mean, like everybody cares about themselves in some small way, but it's like I don't have an ego in the sense where like I think that I'm better than anybody else, but I do know that I work harder than most people. And so because of that, I've been able to actually kind of like, you know, I was given opportunities very early on when like the whole blogger thing kind of started to happen. My girlfriend happens to also do the same thing. She's been doing this forever. And ooh, I think the sauna is finally kicking on. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like I got this amazing opportunity to kind of like get into this world. And through that, I had to kind of like buckle down and do things differently than other people. Like I didn't know how to take pictures, but we couldn't afford to hire a photographer because we were broke ass kids. So I learned how to do photography. And then, you know, I really hated photography at the beginning. And so I had to learn how to shoot film. And I loved doing that. And then because of that, that got me really amazing jobs, because I was just better at this shit than other people were because I put in the time. Kind of like that Gretzky quote, like you want to skate where the puck is going, not where it is right then. And now I kind of feel like just a little old hat. You know, it's like I have so many things that I've been very fortunate with. Like I still very much do. I'm with an agency where like I do influencer marketing and like I get jobs as a content creator. But it's one of those things where like, again, I'll be 36 in like a few months. You know, it's like I literally count my blessings every single day that I actually have a job, especially in this current market. But I think the most important thing out of that is to understand that it's not about like, you know, if your main objective is to be like featured by Instagram for your reel, or to like have like Nathan like your photo, or if you have like very simple objectives like that, then you should actually be looking deeper inside and shoot further. Because you know, it's like I truly think that like a lot of things are already kind of a mess right now. And I'm actually kind of scared for the way that the marketing is working, because you know, at this point, we're in a cancel culture. You know, like there's so many people that are like influencers that I know, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's just like it's very relatable. You know, where it's like there's so many people that are influencers, and they're great people, and they may have said something 10 or 11 years ago that some person decided to go through and like just obsess over every single tweet or something like that, and all of a sudden they're ruined. And so I don't know. It's like I feel like if you haven't made it so far as an influencer, don't worry about it. Because guess what? Like there's an ebb and flow with everything. And like in another year, there's probably going to be like some new dope trend that people are just obsessing over and stuff. But be the best version of you. That's what I say.
Were you going to say something?
No.
You sound like you breathed in to say something. When you're saying before, you're with an agency that I'm always on ready for him to breathe. When you're with Socialite, is it still Socialite? Is that who you're with?
It's still Socialite. Yeah, it's still Socialite.
I guess something's changed there. You're with Socialite there that represent you in the sort of influencer space. You've done something that a little pivot that a lot of people haven't done, in that you actually create content for other people, not just for brands.
Oh yeah.
The creators yourself, which I think is a super, super smart thing and a very interesting thing. We know you love cameras and photography and the tech side of things, and you love stuff that takes skill and finesse, as you said before. Talk to us about that, about how you've delved into that and how you've used that to your advantage when work has been a little bit slow for you personally.
Well, I mean, one huge advantage is the fact that like if you are, because again, even just looking back to like how we first met, you know, it's like I, you know, met you at that suit thing, but then I literally like came up to you and I was just like, hey, I don't know if you like to have photos taken as a person that takes photos of themselves, but I take photos and I'm happy to take photos with you, you know, nervous talk. And like, we ended up going to that dope warehouse, setting up the rings and got our friend James, and like, we're all just taking photos and doing dope shit. And it's like, when you actually have a skill set that is a commodity, you know, it's like when people want something like your skill, you know, cherish it, refine it, hone it, and be better at it every single day. Learn as much as you can about it, because, you know, I think you and I, like, we clicked really quickly, you know, because of like the suit thing and like just kind of like chatting. But I think like you and me having like that, thank you. But I think honestly, like you and me, like having like that one-on-one time where like we got to like train together and take those photos. It was like January, freezing cold, in like some dusty, like asbestos-ridden warehouse. But it was like this memory where it's just like
later.
Yeah, shut down a week later, and the rings are still in there. Like I never got them back. You know, like they're gone. Oh yeah, it's getting toasty in here now. Oh, yeah, but you know, it's like if you guys actually like one pro tip, okay, pro tip from Hicks. If you have the ability, like right now is COVID, you have no fucking excuse to not take this time to spend an hour in a day or 24 hours in a day. If you're sleeping too much, don't do that. If you're watching Netflix, just cut it short a little bit. Take some time to educate yourself. You know, it's like, because like there has never been a better time in our, like in several generations, to be excellent at multiple things that you just wanted to do and you couldn't. And filmmaking is something right now that I think is going to be very, very, very important, because there are no sets right now. I get so many jobs that are people sending me their footage that I edit, you know, and get paid to do it. And I set the rates that I want, and they pay me what I want, because I do great work and I took the time to get there, and it takes time to do these things. So whether it's cameras, whether it's going to be writing a novel, whether it's like becoming a coach, you know, if you want to get like, you want to be a certified coach, you know, like you need to be taking the initiative to do these things, because I am not afraid if I get dropped from my agency, because guess what? I have my own video production company right now. I also do professional photography. I can shoot weddings. I can shoot commercials. And on top of it, in COVID, I've also been studying to be a real estate investor. I'm going to be a real estate licensed practitioner in the state of Florida. You know, it's like I'm setting myself up, you know, to have plans in advance. And I think that that's just something that a lot of people kind of forget about, is that it's like, hey, you know, like, and politics aside, because, you know, it's like, fuck Trump, but, you know, it's like, we just, but it's like, we just had this like hilarious thing. And it's like, it's unfortunate, but it's not dangerous. Nobody got hurt. But it's like, there was this like metaphorical, just like perfect example of everything right now, where we just had like a bunch of Trump-toting boats just sink to the bottom of a lake recently and stuff.
The meme,
you know, and it's just the meme that's like gone like everywhere, and we all love it. Okay, but it's like, if that could be you, okay, like if you are just kind of kicking back right now and just taking your unemployment check, which again, nothing wrong with that, but if you're not trying to actively like plan ahead and just have some sort of lifesaver, you know, like life preserver, then you are just going to go down with the ship, because everything that like the world is being re-terraformed right now. And everything that we were comfortable with and we knew and we expected, like the movies we want to see and like all the shows that we love, like, God, I fucking love Stranger Things. Guess what? Stranger Things isn't probably going to come out for any time soon, because it's so hard to film anything. It's so hard to create anything. So if you have a skill as like a person that knows how to shoot photos, and, you know, like you might be able to actually do some of these remote setups like we're doing right now professionally and make it look better, which is something I'm also doing. So if you're looking for somebody to edit something.
No. Our audio just did a weird glitchy thing. Do you think that's something that you haven't just recently started studying new skills? That's you as a person. You've always been someone that if you get into something, you dive headfirst, you know, and really get into it, like photography and kettlebells and whatever it is that you're interested in. As you said, you dive headfirst and go into that. How did you, is that just you as a person, or is that something that you worked on and you've struggled with at any point, or is that just you, how you are?
So, I mean, like that is a pretty like solid point of like who I am. But I also feel like, you know, there are just a lot of people that will kind of like use that as a crutch. Like, for example, like I feel like I actually have a very solid like learning disability. You know, like if somebody says something to me, I have a very difficult time processing and understanding things. So for example, like I've heard the same, let's say like the same song for like 20 years. You know, like I understand what the words are. I can sing the lyrics, but if you ask me to say what they are when the music's not playing, I have no idea, because I'm not processing it. So it's like, I actually feel like I have to work doubly hard to really understand what I'm doing. So it's like, if I watch something on a movie, I'm watching it with subtitles so I can understand and process it. You know, it's like, if you have a difficult time, like figuring out how to, you know, like learn a skill, there are so many ways to do it. I'm learning Russian right now, because fucking why not? And I'm learning it in so many different ways. My phone, you know, it's like, I know that I'm a visual learner. So I've set my phone, instead of in English, which is my native language, if you guys don't know, I've set it to Russian, which is like forcing me to actively translate certain words that I just don't know, so that I can actually understand it. And because of that, I'm learning it much more efficiently and faster. You know, it's like, there are a lot of things that so what?
Email, sorry, the bottom of your email the other day, like you sent to me, had something in Russian. I was like, is this teacher in Russian now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I'm not writing it, right? It's just like, that's like a default thing. It's like sent from my iPhone, you know, but it says it in Russian, you know? And it's like, these are just little things where it's like, you got to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And I mean, like, if you can't physically do that in your regular life, like when it comes to work, try to find ways to do that in like your extracurricular time. I'm literally sitting in 170-degree sauna right now. Like, I'm like, if I'm not in this, I'm actively sitting in a bath of ice for like 10 minutes at a time. That's like close to, well, I guess like 10 centigrade, your temp. It's like, I like, you have to find ways to challenge yourself physically, and then that will actually translate into your life, the way that you actually react to things.
We just had to cut out. You know what? We might just cut out. We'll re-ask that last question because we lost you completely then. Excuse me. Turns out saunas are not the best place to podcast from. I think the question you had then was, have you always worked hard at the thing?
Yeah, your tips for mastery. You're a hard worker, but any extra tips you had for mastery?
That said, just one, like, that just kind of goes to show that I'm way fucking tougher than my phone is. So, But yeah, so I mean, like, I guess like the point that I was trying to get at before I was so rudely interrupted by technology is that it's like, at the end of the day, kind of paraphrasing like just that epic shit that I was dropping for you guys is lost forever. It's like, if like, tips for mastery is basically just like, don't be afraid to ask somebody that knows a lot more than you do for advice and for help and like their guidance, because it's like, there's nothing that's more frustrating and less rewarding than spending years and years trying to like learn a skill that like you could shave off all that time and just talk to a pro, or somebody that's like equally as passionate about it, because the point I was making is that it's like, if you spend like 5 or 6 years learning something, like you were going to be so excited to talk about this with anybody that has an interest, especially if you're me. So it was actually a lot cooler, but I'll leave it at that. So
okay. One of the things over the years we know of you and your passion for photography and tech, that's something that I've always found. You're very much like, you self-teach there. I know you ask a lot of questions, but we ask you a lot of questions about that too. Lane, less.
yeah.
You don't really care so much about the cameras.
I don't care at all.
But I always find it interesting. And also just like your passion, your unbridled passion for it makes it far more interesting to me, because you're just like, oh my God, and this thing, and like, I got to share this. And I just love hearing you explain it because you're so pumped about it.
It's actually kind of funny because like my family, like they know it all too well. Like when I get excited about whatever, it's like I could go on like a 1 hour, like you drop a thesis on like cold thermogenesis or some random shit, and it's like they call it Hicks-plaining, So it's like whenever I say something, just like, he's Hicks-plaining it, So don't ask him any questions unless you want to really hear it, Or actually, it's a great tip if you want to distract me while you talk about something else. I'll be set. I'm like a terrier.
Got on because you're too busy explaining.
Yeah, I'm a terrier. Yeah.
I think we've spoken about this before when the last time I was in New York with Court, and you got in the airport, and I said at Court, I was like, he was tired and drained, it was a long day of travel. I was like, don't worry, you don't need to talk. Bobby will talk in the car. And and honestly, I think maybe something came from Court. And I asked a few questions, and you just went for the entire car ride home, just like catching us up. You were answering the questions we weren't asking.
I feel like it's a skill, It's like, like I should be like a cab driver, just because like I'm self-sustaining and I know how to like navigate the roads, and like I don't need shit, man. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I definitely talk a lot, and yeah, I forget if there was a question in there. It just, maybe you're just like softly bragging about my like diction. It's like, I don't want to explain right now and just rant about nothing. It's like, if there was a question, happy to answer it. If there's not, I'm not going to do it.
One thing that you'd want people to know about you, you'd want to be known for. What is that?
I don't know, man. It's like, I think, again, like, I think in general, I just want people to recognize me as like the friendly, smiley kind of like my bio, again, like, it's been the same for like 10 or 15 years at this point. Like, I've never changed it. And it's just like, I tend to smile quite a bit. And it's one of those, it's a good trait that I have, but it's characteristic and indicative, just like who I am. Like people like legit will message me saying like, oh man, that's a moody picture of you. And it's like, it's literally just like a regular picture if I'm not smiling. So I think that, you know, it's like, like, it's nothing moody about it. I'm not like sitting on a pentagram or some shit with like bathing in blood. Like, it's not epic. It's just, I'm just like not smiling. And so I think that that's kind of an impressionable and an impactful thing, because, you know, it's like, that's as identifiable as you get. And the tattoo guy, I got tattoos. So those are the two things.
Any
What?
you got any more tattoos coming?
Oh man. I mean, I like, kind of, yeah. Like there's one big idea that I wanted to have, big one, where like, so Nathan, you love your six pack. And in fact, like I've been trying to get you to get tattoos for years. And
I love my six pack.
You work hard to keep your six pack. How's that? Okay. You know, but like I've been like working years to try to get you to get like one tattoo, and you won't do it. But it's like, for me, like I'm actually going to be getting eventually a giant like stomach piece, and it's going to be of a six pack. No, probably like a wolf or something. Like it sounds stupid as shit. This is why like I don't really talk about it, but it's one of those things where it's like, most of the tattoos I have, it's not like they all have some epic crazy meaning. I'm not necessarily one of those people. I just get things that I appreciate and I like. And you know, it's like there's something about like just a badass wolf, you know, or in Russian, volk. You know? For our Russian listeners out there, just be like, duh, volk, duh.
I don't even know if we have any Russian listeners, but we will shortly now after interviewing.
You got, oh man, I'm like a soundbite machine. You're good.
That's all I'm going to cut this episode when I edit. I'm just going to cut all your Russian words. I think we have Dmitry, duh, and
So like, you know, I know that like we've got plenty of stuff for everybody that's just listening. But what about the visual guys? Let's give them a ride.
Oh god.
There we go. Just keep it going like this. I'm dizzy too. If you guys don't know, if you're just listening and not paying attention to the video part, I was just spitting. And now I'm dizzy. We started in a sauna, we ended out in a patio spitting and puking. This got crazy.
You're in summer, obviously.
Say what?
How's the temperature there right now? You said you're upstate New York, right?
Yeah, I'm actually about like an hour upstate, hour and a half or so. It's in a small town called Beacon, and it's great. It's next to like Bear Mountain, and I love it. And yeah, it's like we're kind of like in summer. We're kind of hitting like that tail end point of it where it's nice. You know, I mean, like it's not hot or anything. I mean, in fact, like there's a pool that's over here, and I was jumping in it earlier, and it felt like refreshingly cool. You know, not a nice bath cold, but refreshingly cool. And you kind of know me. It's like I'm from Central Florida, and I hate Central Florida, but I'm getting ready to move back to Florida. And it's not something. Oh, Lane looks surprised. You didn't know this?
Are you moving back to Central Florida, or are you moving?
No. Keiko and I, we're going to be moving down to South Florida. We're going to be near our family and stuff, and just kind of getting a break. Like we've been in New York for about 15 years at this point, and you know, it's one of those things where it's like we spend more in rent than most people I know spend on 3 mortgages. Think about that. Yeah. You know, and so it's like we wanted to really pivot and change that, because it's like, you know, we've worked so hard over the years. Like that's tip number 2 for you guys out there listening. Okay, it's like don't.
A lot of tips, man.
This is tip number 1. You know, it's like if you guys don't waste your fucking money on rent for longer than you need to. You know, like we're gonna move down there, eventually buy a house and try to just like invest the rest of our money into other things. I'm looking into real estate investing, so I'm gonna own a lot of houses. I'm gonna rent that shit out. And so if you want to be a tenant and have a really, really awesome landlord, right here.
Look at his future real estate.
That's also something that I'm known for, where I just like, you know, because I go like full in on something, I just like, I have so much moxie, is what Keiko says. Like when I first got into video, I had never even shot like a real project for anybody, but I was so solid, I understood it. And so I was advertising on Instagram, like, hey, you guys want a wedding shot? I'm your guy. I will shoot your wedding for you. Hit me up, like out, And my girlfriend saw that story. She didn't even know I did it. She saw it. She was like, why are you advertising that you want to shoot someone's wedding? You've never shot a wedding. And I'm like, I'll figure it out. It's a wedding. I don't think I'd even been to like a wedding. Like I may have been to like one single wedding. Like so. Hey, but time to catch up. Okay, I've shot many weddings. I've been to many weddings. Like I am a proper guy. But you got to start out with that attitude. It's like some people say like believe in it, pay it forward, and all that stuff. Like put the energy out there. Like it's kind of that. If you believe that you want to do something, just do it. If you fail, at least you tried, and then you learn more.
That moxie, as you said, there is a lesson there of just like giving it a go, but give it a go properly. Yeah. You're not just like saying, "Oh, I can do this," and you're not figuring it out. You were confident in yourself. You're willing to work towards it, so you said you were going to do it. That's probably the lesson to take away from that, rather than just say you're going to do it, and not know what you're doing.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like let's take a little pivot direction. Okay, I'm gonna take over right now. I'm taking over the Milestone podcast. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. So let's pivot to Lane first. Okay, so Lane Fletcher. G'day, mate.
Okay. That's
This is how you like really quickly get canceled off the podcast. So I mean, like, you and I have been chatting and stuff for a while. And, it's like, personally, I'm actually really curious about this. We were briefly touching on this before, but, you have spent years of your life, okay, studying, like psychology, physiology, like sports, I don't know, nutrition and all these other elements that like make you who you are. And you are like one of the huge pillars, one of the two major pillars that hold up that triangle for Team Milestone. Like you're coaching for all these people. It's great. Like, have you seen in like the recent COVID time, like, have you seen like more of an increase of people kind of like coming to you guys for advice outside of just like DMing you an Instagram chat? Like, I'm actually genuinely curious because I want to see like that people are taking the initiative to not just, again, like YouTube University something, but to actively like realize, hey, I loved going to my gym. And now that that's like more difficult, or I don't feel safe doing it, I need to have somebody in my corner. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Have you seen like an influx in people?
Yeah, both professionally, like in Milestone, we've had a significant amount of more people coming, and in my personal life, like I got friends who have hit me up about getting fit and healthy, who I like going to a gym. But I think socially, the whole trend has gone away from needing to be in a gym to be fit. I think a lot more people are realizing they can run and do calisthenics and jump rope. And that's going to get, like, honestly, 90% of the population to where they want to be.
Yeah.
Like most people.
And I think a lot of people have seen that.
Yeah. And people seeing that. And then the more people see that, the more social proof it's getting. So people are coming to me not with traditional questions about weightlifting, which I might have gotten previously, or about performance. It's more, I'm getting a lot more questions about health, and a lot more questions about how to manage mental health in these times.
Yeah, which is, I think that's also like one of the biggest assets you could probably have, because there are a million people that are talking about eat a caloric deficit, it's like track your macros, get your veggies, but it's like there are not enough people actually talking about mental health. And like, I mean, there's so many people I know that are just terrified, and it's like, rightly so. I get it. It's a scary time to live in for so many different reasons, but it's like, I love that you're able to actually give like educated information about that,
Yeah, for sure. Mental health advice like is really difficult because it's super complex and super contextual. Like you see so many people just practice mindfulness, and it's like mindfulness can lead to severe mental health issues in some types of personalities, So people are just, there's a lot of that. People just say things that they think sound good for mental health. But I mean, there's a reason a psychology degree takes 6 years. Like it takes a really long time to even get a foundational level of understanding of how to manage someone's mental health. So yeah, it's cool to be able to share that with people. I'm really passionate about that. But yeah, people should be really careful about who they get their advice from as well.
And it's also one of those things where it's like, just like with bio individuality, when it comes to like muscular like development, like at the end of the day, you know, it's like if I had this like narrow-minded goal to look exactly like Nathan, that would be like a really futile attempt, you know. And it's like, it's one of those things where I could have the exact same diet, the exact same workout plan, and I just develop differently. You know, it's like I have much wider like an abdominal area, you know. It's like I got massive thighs, you know, but it's like it's difficult for me to get like some other thing, you know. It's like I happen to have a very difficult time cutting weight, you know, whereas like I know a lot of people that just cut it really easily. And it's very, very much the same way when it comes to exactly like how you said it with like your mental health, you know. And then I mean, like pivoting over to Nate, you know, it's like
just going from the
have you
I'm going to
oh
interrupt
sorry
you there. That's the benefit of Lane as compared to most
the
other
one
personal trainers. The only benefit of Lane the fact that he's so aware of the mental side of things as well, and has genuinely studied it beyond just like oh yeah, I read an article on Google. He actually has information there to be able to give a scientifically backed answer towards people and understand that there are nuances to different people and how they deal with things and process things and work through things. So our clients get such a better understanding or assistance with their programming compared to other people because we're looking at it from more than just like a physiological aspect. Lane's going at it from a like, well, hey, here's where your motivation may be stemming from. Here's how I can help. And that's something that like the Milestone community benefits from so much is because of like his knowledge and his quest to enlighten himself and educate more. They get the benefits from that, which is such a really cool thing.
And I think that's actually one of my favorite things about you guys as well, is that it's like, and I think a lot of people have relationships like this with many of their friends, where it's like, you know, people have close friends that they're with, and usually those are relationships kind of based around like yes men and yes women, you know, where it's just like, doesn't matter what you're thinking or if they really believe it, you just have this friend that's just like, they're just going to say yeah just because they want to make you feel comfortable. And it's like, there are so many things that like I've had interest in that like I've researched and I'm just like confident in, but I don't know enough. And then I'll share it with you guys. And then like you and Lane will come back and be like, well, it's not yes or no, but this is what the science actually says. And like, I love the fact that it's like, you guys are both very educated, but you're also like, you're not afraid to actually like stick to your beliefs, you know, as like knowledgeable, educated, like professionals. Like if I talk about, I don't know, like photobiomodulation, you know, because that was the thing for a little bit, you know. And it's like, just talk about like red light therapy and how it's just like there are a lot of things, or like CBD, you know. It's like there are so many things that are like hot button topics that people love to talk about, and there's really like this much science, even though there might be a lot of studies, like there's really like so little that we know about it.
Yeah.
And I just love that like you guys have always had this ability to kind of like objectively say something based on the facts and live on the facts and be like, hey, if a major publication came out with like a report saying that this has changed, then I might reflect and change on that. But you know, it's like, I appreciate that.
That's the only real way to be, particularly when it comes to like health, because we're learning new things every day. You can't just be completely dogmatic about things. You have to be willing to change and understand that something's new fact might come out that you were wrong about, but we're going to go on the stuff that we know to be true currently.
And then how's this, you know, I asked Lane a question, Nate, you know, for you, like, you know, obviously we've talked about like me a lot and stuff with a lot of, you know, like plans and goals and things that I've gone through, and like, you know, whether it's good and bad things, but like with COVID, you know, in Australia for you, like, you guys have dealt with it a lot better than the States have, but like, are there any things in particular that like you might be struggling with, or that you're actually like really excited about that like have worked to your advantage? You know, like how is this like actually affected you? You know,
We were very, very lucky that you said before about like the fact that like best friends that work together, work didn't change too much. If anything, we became more productive because rather than having the distractions of all the other things in life, we got to focus on doing what we do best. So I feel like we benefited more from that as a business because we can kind of just like hone in and spend time together, focus more closely on what we were doing. There's definitely negatives. A huge thing for us, one of our big things we were excited about this year was the travel aspect. We love doing seminars and training and traveling around and meeting people and giving that one-on-one or group experience that we can't do now. But it's okay. We didn't really focus on that. We've focused on building HQ and our online platform to be stronger and better. And I think we've succeeded in what we've tried there so far. So we've sort of, as you said, pivoted towards what we can do rather than what we can't do. And I think we're doing a decent job of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And last question that I would have for you is, when you started with Good Morning Party People, did you actually think that it was going to be what it is? Because I feel like if you don't say Good Morning Party People, people get really, they have a terrible morning,
Yeah.
Getting attacked by bugs.
But again, I don't know. I want to be the same as you. I want to just leave people happy. I want to help and get positive experience from people. And that seems to be something that people occasionally will get people being like, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear that again. And that's fine. Yeah. Lane has and probably 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes when I accidentally delete the video I've just filmed, which happens all the time.
Far too regularly for a guy who makes a living on Instagram.
Not very good at the internet. Yeah, it's one of those things. And it doesn't, it's not something I hate. It was a positive thing. It does, I'm putting out energy and I get energy back from it. So it's okay.
And then I guess last question for the two of you. So hypothetically, okay, so it's I live in New York right now, and it's always been really easy for me to actually get to see you because you would come to New York. Now that's not going to change. It's if you come and when things change, I will love to take a flight, come over and meet you guys and meet you in LA or whatever it might be. But hypothetically, or even better, just go to Australia, just fucking ditch the States, But getting to the point, what are the odds that I can get you guys to do an ice bath with me?
Well, I did them for 10 years when I played rugby, so I'm in. It's fine. But
all right.
What are we wearing? Nothing? Can we wear nothing?
We can wear nothing.
Yes, I'm in.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And what about you, big man?
I'll do it just to keep you happy.
All right, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We're gonna do it. Mental grit. That's a bigger compromise than trying to get you to learn long cycle and just do that for me.
He's not doing that.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like you would crush it because you've got the perfect anatomy. You've got those arms and the elbows.
Those short arms. Look at that. My hips are all the way down here.
I see the worst anatomy. So, I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions for me, or
I think that'll do for us today, man. We've taken enough of your time and we stole you from the sauna. So,
yeah, honestly, I'd keep going, but it's that sauna is calling my name, and I really, really, I'm missing it. I should give her a name like Sharon or something.
Yes, thank you so much.
I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see you guys. But keep doing what you're doing. You are inspiring me on a daily basis, and I'm sure you're inspiring at least another person. So.
Very sweet of you. Thank you. And where can the people, before we leave, where can the people find you? I want to check you out. How smart you are.
So, you guys can find me at on Instagram at this fellow. That's this fellow, not that fellow. Somebody else got that account. And if you are that fellow, somebody got. I was really bummed about it. I wanted to have that alter ego, so that this fellow smiles a lot. That fellow was a miserable asshole, and I didn't work out. But yeah, so you guys can find me on This Fellow. My name is Bobby Hicks, and I am Aries, and I love chocolate. Give me something with peanut butter, and I'm all over it. And you should do kettlebells because kettlebell is strength, comrades.
Yeah, explained.
Explained.
All right.
We love you.
See you, brother.
Love you guys. Take care.